just on a serious note, thoughts and prayers go out to the family from Methuen that lost their family members this morning, early this morning. I personally knew the couple and passed away, so it was a tragedy. It was something else. If anybody wants a refresher class in Swimming 101, please call the office tomorrow between 8 and 9. I'll be available. I have a little pool set up. Put your face down and you go up like that. You do that for 20 times and that's it. But also the gentleman that was involved in the rescue with me, his name was Patriot, and as the chief said, he worked as a hired hand at the Aid Sheriff's house. And he couldn't make it tonight. I think I forgot to call him back. I called him once, and I think I was supposed to call him back, but he was going to come with his wife. And what happened was, he didn't make it. So he was the captain of the ship. We had a little 9-horsepower Mercury, and we were in a Boston whaler, which was about that big off the ground. And I'm saying, give me a break. But we found the gentleman, and he was so good because he drove the boat, and everything worked out good. But anyhow, I want to thank my family, and I want to thank my friends, and I want to thank all my brothers over there in blue, all the good-looking guys, not the Lawrence Clubs. Go behind them. On the other side. I want to thank them all for coming tonight and supporting me, and God bless us all. Thanks, guys. I love you all. Thank you.
I don't know if you can hear, but the music was just starting to play. Right on time. Now for our final presentation of the evening, I'd like to call upon Chief Andrew Melnikas of the North Andover Fire Department.
Good evening. I too would like to echo the sentiments of those speakers before me and thank all the people involved with the Exchange Club. Personally thank Scott Emerson. Scott, you can sit with fire next year. You don't have to sit with the police. Come over to us, it's okay. And I also especially like to give a thank to Rick Blaine and Robert Di Natale. We burned up the email lines because I couldn't get the ticket numbers right. I don't know how many times I went back and forth with Rick, then would put me over to Robin. So I've got a bunch of extra tickets in my pocket. Probably shouldn't tell you that. But as you heard Chief Marsh say, they were having trouble with their boat. The reason I bring that up is the unit that I'm awarding tonight for Firefighter of the Year was basically what we call Group 2. And this particular group, very hard-working group, as they all are, but this particular group, there's always one individual in this group that, as soon as he finds out what the training is for the day, he might have a little attitude, especially if we're taking the boat out. So now, Sean, you can see why you take the boat out so often. No, Sean, along with the rest of the group, do an incredible job in the service to the citizens of the town out there. And I'm amazed that Sean is able to do as much as he does, because those of you that know him saw him networking and politicking, because Sean, those of you that don't know, serves 2 roles. He's on and out there in the fire department, but he also is a counselor for the city of Methuen. So I don't know how he finds the energy to do both, but we're thankful that he's done for our department. The call that I'm going to nominate these individuals for was not your standard garden variety type call. This call, normally we have your medical calls, your alarm sounding, things of that nature. This particular call was strange in that it was more of a technical rescue call. It was more of a high-angle rescue. It's something we don't see, and we may not, as a department, we may not see it ever again. I don't ever recall in 30-plus years having come across a call of this type. Back on February 28th of 2013, at 8:31 hours, we got a call for an individual at the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District plant, which is also known as the GLSD. And the call was medical in nature initially. It was for an individual with a possible fractured leg. The call was compounded by the fact that this individual was in a holding tank, which was empty, about 30 feet down. So the lieutenant on duty at the time from Station 1, Lieutenant Bob Bonifant, quick thinking, quick decision, made the decision to put a box alarm on, which basically brought the department to the scene for manpower, amongst other things. Excuse me. At the time, as I mentioned, this person was working in a holding tank about 30 feet down, and he was doing repairs to the tank. The crew that responded entered the tank by means of a ground ladder initially. They then had to subsequently lower various pieces of equipment into the tank to be used, ultimately to stabilize this patient. Once the patient had been stabilized, this patient was placed in what we call a Stokes basket. Now, we get the person in the Stokes basket, and then as a result of subsequent to that, we've got to get the Stokes basket up and out of the tank. This was actually greatly aided, or we were greatly aided by the fact that there was a crane operator on site. That this highly skilled crane operator was actually able to help us remove the Stokes stretcher from the tank. Once this person was removed, now an assessment was performed by the EMTs and the paramedics, and subsequent to this, the patient was transported to the Lawrence General Hospital. The nature of this call presented the responding units with what in effect was known as a tech rescue. We were fortunate in that three members of our department that had been on the North Andover kind of a tech rescue team of years ago were on duty that day, and they had retained a great deal of the knowledge that they had learned in the past. As I mentioned, fire crews do not normally encounter this type of call in their day-to-day responses. Their knowledge, along with the teamwork exhibited by all of the individuals on site, ultimately brought about a safe and successful conclusion for this patient. So because of this, I want to nominate the following individuals. I have nominated the following individuals: Bob Bonifant, Lieutenant Graham Rowe, Firefighter Sean Fountain, Firefighter Scott Swinarski, Firefighter Jonathan McCarthy, Firefighter Gary Ford, Firefighter Gary Wentworth, Firefighter John McClellan, Firefighter Jeff Judge, Firefighter Len Severino, and last and certainly not least, although he's not with us tonight, Firefighter